Imagine getting in early on Apple, Amazon, or Google before they hit their trillion-dollar valuations. That would have been life-changing, right? Well, today in this video, I'm going to show you why there's another company on the verge of joining the trillion-dollar club. And it's not one that you'd expect. So you don't want to miss out on this video because I'm about to reveal the next big thing in the world of investing and how you can ride the wave to potentially massive profits. Welcome to my channel. My name is 𝗗𝗶𝗀𝗰𝗹, and if you enjoy watching videos like this one where I break down complex topics into easily digestible and understandable bits and pieces, then make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe to my channel. And before we dive into the meat of this video, I need to make one quick disclaimer. Nothing in this video is financial advice. I'm simply sharing my own research, my world perspective, but before making any investment, you should always do your own research. All right, let's dive in. The next trillion-dollar company and how you can get in early. So let's start off by giving you a little bit of context. There are a bunch of companies which are publicly traded, and all of their information, so their prices, their valuations, all of it is known and out there in the public. And when you look at companies that hit a trillion-dollar valuation, you will see this list of companies: Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Alphabet, which is the mother company, the parent company of Google. We have Amazon, of course, Jeff Bezos' company. We have Saudi Aramco, which is the Saudi oil and gas company. And we have Meta, which was prior known to be Facebook. They recently changed their name in the previous bull market cycle because it was more aligned with Mark Zuckerberg's vision of where he wanted to take the company. But there is a very limited amount of companies which have a trillion-dollar valuation. Right now, it's still quite a big achievement to join the trillion-dollar club. And I want to share a brief case study of one of the companies that recently joined the trillion-dollar club, which is Nvidia. Right now, Nvidia is ranked third. They were ranked second, but now they're ranked third again. And they have a valuation of around $3.1 trillion. So here you see that 5 years ago, Nvidia's market cap was $89 billion. Today, it's around $3.1 trillion. So their market cap, and if you don't know what market cap stands for market capitalization, which is basically the total value of the company, or if you want to look at it mathematically, it is the number of shares outstanding multiplied times the price of those shares. And that is going to give you the value of the company, the market capitalization. And you see that the value of Nvidia as a company grew very rapidly in the past few years. And why is that? Well, Nvidia is known as a company that created lots of video processing chips. A lot of gamers used Nvidia processing chips in order to improve the graphics while they were playing video games. And not that long ago, the CEO of Nvidia, he made a big bet on AI. So he figured, we're creating all of these sophisticated chips with all of this processing power. And he looked into the future and he predicted that there was going to be a very big AI boom. So he started to use a lot of his profits and a lot of his capital to invest in special chips that would be able to empower the AI boom. And here you see the evolution of Nvidia chips. So over time, Nvidia chips started to become very, very powerful. And now you see here the Nvidia H100, that is the industry standard computing chip for AI. For example, ChatGPT, which is the most commonly known AI application, is currently running on this H100 chip. And you see there's an exponential increase in the computing power of these chips. So the single chip performance is going up quite drastically, almost a factor of 1,000 in 10 years. And this is enabling the AI boom. And as a result, because there's so much hype around AI, so when was it? Last year we saw the ChatGPT moment. That is the moment when everyone kind of discovered AI. It went mainstream. AI has been a technology that has been around for many years, but when ChatGPT got launched, it pulled so many eyeballs and attentions into the AI space that it kind of triggered massive valuations for any software tool, any company, anything, anyone, any company that was involved in AI. And now the point of this video is the following. What if I told you that the next trillion-dollar company could be right in front of us? What if this company that I'm about to share with you today in this video is going to have a similar moment like Nvidia, where right now they have a normal market cap according to the average market cap in the S&P 500. But what if they are set to explode and that their market cap and valuation is drastically going to multiply in the next few years, and now you have a chance to get in early? Would you want to know the name of the company, and would you want to know a little bit of the background and my predictions around this company? If so, stick around, because that's what we're going to discuss right now. There is this company called MicroStrategy, and its shares went up 1,500% since 2020, and it outperformed the S&P by orders of magnitude. So here you see a chart of MicroStrategy versus the S&P 500. In case you don't know what the S&P 500 is, the S&P 500 is a basket of the 500 largest publicly traded companies on the US stock exchange. And the S&P 500 is seen as the benchmark whenever you're looking at the financial performance of a certain investment. Over the past 100 years, the S&P 500 has generated around 7 to 8% yearly returns with relatively a low risk. Now, the S&P 500 since 2020 has gone up with around 111% in the past few years. Now, MicroStrategy has gone up with 1,444%. That is insane. So how is it possible that MicroStrategy, this company, has so drastically outperformed the S&P 500 index? Well, let's have a look. In 2020, MicroStrategy announced that they were going to adopt a Bitcoin treasury strategy. This means that they had all of this money in their bank account, and usually what companies do is they invest it in short-term treasury bonds so that they don't lose value against inflation, or they don't lose purchasing power against inflation. Well, MicroStrategy and its management team had a very critical look at all the options that they had available to them. They could invest in short-term treasury bonds, in real estate, in other companies. They had this wide spectrum of investments that they could park their money in. But after doing a lot of research, they identified Bitcoin as a way superior investment to put all of their spare cash in. And they announced to the world that they were going to buy up Bitcoin with all of their spare cash. And ever since, they have purchased around 252,000 Bitcoin, and they keep on accumulating more and more. If we look at this CoinGecko overview of Bitcoin held by public companies, we see that MicroStrategy is leading the chart by orders of magnitude. So Marathon Digital Holdings, which is a publicly traded Bitcoin mining company, they hold around 26,800 Bitcoin, and MicroStrategy now holds more than 252,000, and they keep on buying more. So they are leading the way for publicly traded companies that are accumulating Bitcoin because they have a Bitcoin treasury strategy. And they have been buying Bitcoin in the past few years. So ever since 2020, when they announced their Bitcoin treasury strategy, all of the black dots that you see on this chart have been the moments where they have dollar cost average into the market. So they have used cash, they issued debt, they found many different clever strategies to accumulate more Bitcoin. They sold shares. So they're constantly looking for ways to just raise more money to buy Bitcoin. And in the past few years, they have purchased Bitcoin around 40 times. No matter whether Bitcoin was high, low, or just within range, they kept on buying more and more and more to the point that they now hold 252,000 Bitcoin. And MicroStrategy is inspiring a new class of companies which is also adopting Bitcoin as a strategic treasury strategy. So one of these companies is the Japanese public traded company Metaplanet, which keeps on buying more and more Bitcoin over time. So when you go on X, you keep on seeing almost daily or weekly, you see these tweets that Metaplanet just purchased another billion dollar yen purchase of Bitcoin, and they keep on doing this consistently, just like MicroStrategy is buying Bitcoin consistently. So meet Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor is the CEO of MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor is one of the most clever people, to be honest, in this whole space. He is educated on MIT. If you don't know what MIT is, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, it's one of the best universities in the world. It's a very technical university, has some of the best professors in the world. He graduated from that university, and then he went on to start MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy initially was a software company focused on creating business intelligence solutions for companies, and it has done really well. And in 2020, after doing a lot of its research on what it could best do with its excess cash, Michael Saylor basically took the orange pill. That's what we call it when someone discovered Bitcoin and they start to turn into a really big believer of it. So in 2020, Michael Saylor took the orange pill and basically became the new Michael Saylor, which is the Bitcoin advocate, the Bitcoin bull that he is right now. This is actually his Twitter picture right now. So in case you don't know, on Twitter, we have this sort of funny meme. Whenever someone is really into Bitcoin, they add laser eyes to their profile picture. That's how you can discover your fellow Bitcoin enthusiasts. And ever since Michael Saylor discovered Bitcoin, he has been very outspoken about it. He has gone on many podcasts. He has produced many pieces of content himself, and he's always talking about Bitcoin. And here's a quote which I think is really interesting by Michael Saylor. He said, "Once I understood Bitcoin, I would go to bed with anxiety at night, feeling short because I worried that someone else would figure out what I figured out and they would buy it all. And I wouldn't be able to buy anymore." So this is one of the most clever people in the space, and he gets anxiety at night knowing that how powerful and how interesting Bitcoin is as an investment, and that other people would also figure out the same thing that he just figured out after taking the orange pill, so to say. So ever since, he has been buying up tons and tons of Bitcoin. And now MicroStrategy is holding around 252,000 Bitcoin. So what is the point? Why is MicroStrategy buying up so much Bitcoin? And what is his or their future plan with all of this Bitcoin? Well, last week, Michael Saylor revealed his endgame. And he said that MicroStrategy's endgame is to become the leading Bitcoin bank. And this is going to allow MicroStrategy to become a $1 trillion company. So that is their end game. And what does it mean to become a Bitcoin bank? Well, imagine you own Bitcoin or you want to borrow Bitcoin. Then there are very few institutions which now allow you to borrow or lend, or which offer sophisticated Bitcoin-related products. And MicroStrategy, with all of its Bitcoin knowledge, all of its connections within the government, within the corporate industry, within the banking sector, they are setting out to create the world's leading Bitcoin bank. And I think this is really interesting and really great for adoption of Bitcoin and the maturity of Bitcoin as an asset class and as an industry. So many people out there have Bitcoin in their wallets, but they don't really want to cash it out. So what if instead you could make a loan with Bitcoin as a collateral and you could borrow against it? Or what if you could deposit money and you could borrow Bitcoin against it? So it could go many different ways. There could be many different products, derivatives, all enabling people to transact and invest more freely into Bitcoin. And I really strongly endorse Michael Saylor for this. I think it's a really great game plan, and I would love to see what he's going to build and how he's going to fill up this gap. So yeah, let's have a look at this. So many institutions out there. So we're talking about national wealth funds, we're talking about banks, we're talking about countries, we're talking about large publicly traded companies. They have been looking at MicroStrategy. They have been looking at all of the podcasts, the interviews, the quarterly performance updates from Michael Saylor and his strategy, and they are starting to believe in the vision of this company and the strategic reserve asset that they have adopted, which is Bitcoin, and all of the stuff that they have been doing around it. And they are also starting to FOMO in. They're starting to massively buy up MicroStrategy stock. So if we look at some of the biggest holders of MicroStrategy stock, we see Marathon Digital Holdings, which is a publicly traded Bitcoin mining company, Galaxy Digital, which is a big almost investment fund or bank within the digital asset space. We see Tesla, we see Coinbase, we see 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗶𝗺𝗏, which is also a big mining company, Riot Platforms, which is a big mining company, Block Inc., which is a company of the previous Twitter founder, Jack Dorsey, CleanSpark, Hive Digital. So all of these institutions are holding Bitcoin. Many of them are already into the digital asset space and the crypto mining space. But now we're seeing these traditional institutions like pension funds, banks, also buying into MicroStrategy stock. So that is really great. And if we look at the market cap, so earlier we looked at the market cap of Nvidia. Let's briefly go back. So you saw this chart where not that long ago, stock of Nvidia was worth around 89 billion, and now it's in the trillions. If we look at the chart of MicroStrategy, we see actually something very similar. So in 2020, at the peak, MicroStrategy stock was worth around 10 billion, or MicroStrategy as a company was worth around 10 billion. Right now, it's almost double that, and the boom market hasn't even started yet. And I believe that with even more hype in the crypto market, even more institutions, more big pension funds, more countries, more banks discovering MicroStrategy, I do strongly hold the belief, but this is of course my belief based on my research, based on my understanding of Bitcoin, and based on all of the interviews and content that I've analyzed of Michael Saylor, that I strongly believe that MicroStrategy could have a very similar moment to Nvidia, where all of a sudden the market cap is going to explode because of the narrative surrounding this company, that it's going to be one of the first big and leading Bitcoin banks in the world. Let's briefly talk about the value drivers of MicroStrategy, because of course within the crypto space, a lot of the valuations around crypto projects and companies are just coupled to the buzzword crypto and Bitcoin. But I want to talk about the actual fundamentals, the actual value drivers of how MicroStrategy creates value for its holders. So let's briefly look at this chart. So MicroStrategy basically wants to turn into a Bitcoin development company. It has Bitcoin holdings, which is right now around 252,000. So whenever Bitcoin goes up in value, the underlying assets of the company also go up. So this also drives up the valuation of MicroStrategy. So let's say that Bitcoin goes to 500K instead of 60,000, what it is today, or 1 million per Bitcoin. Then also the valuation of MicroStrategy is going to go up drastically because it holds so much Bitcoin and it keeps on buying more and more Bitcoin over time. So it has its Bitcoin holdings. Then in addition, it also has its software development branch, which is generating excess cash, which it then uses to buy more Bitcoin. So again, this increases the Bitcoin holdings. So they have 3 different ways that they buy more Bitcoin. So excess cash, but also cash that they use from selling more stock. So publicly traded companies can issue more stock. They can sell it on the stock market to raise cash. So that is when you sell equity to raise cash. But they also issue debt. So basically they go into the financial markets and they say, hey, we MicroStrategy, we want to raise debt. So we want to raise money by issuing debt. We're going to pay you back under these and these terms. And they have raised billions in this way. So again, through all of this debt issuance, they can buy more Bitcoin. So excess cash, selling equity, and issuing debt allows them to increase their cash positions, to buy more Bitcoin. With more Bitcoin in their portfolio and Bitcoin increasing in value, MicroStrategy increases in value as well. So I think that's a very interesting flywheel, which over time can drastically increase the valuation of MicroStrategy. And if you believe in the founder of MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, and you believe in the future of Bitcoin and all of the adoption that's currently happening, then I believe this is a very interesting play and that MicroStrategy has a great likelihood of potentially joining the $1 trillion club ranks. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this video, and I'm really curious to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe that if all of this plays out and MicroStrategy becomes the first and leading Bitcoin bank in the world, do you believe that MicroStrategy has a realistic potential of becoming a $1 trillion company? And do you believe that this is an interesting company to get exposure to by buying some MicroStrategy stocks? I'm really interested to hear your perspective in the comments below. And if you enjoyed watching this video, then make sure to smash the like button so I know that you got good value out of it. And if you haven't done so yet, also make sure to subscribe to my channel, because throughout this crypto market cycle, I'm going to be posting more valuable videos like this one, where I break down exciting developments, complex topics in the world of crypto to help you to make sense of everything that's going on and to help you to position yourself for maximum gains this market cycle. All right, that being said, peace out, and I'll see you in the next one.